this is Connor, and this is Islanders. I'm just going to start out playing through some islands, not really trying to get high scores, but just playing through them until I unlock the next island. And in that time, I'm going to talk a little bit about the current state of Islanders, the videos that I'm recording now, what they'll include. So, I haven't played much Islanders recently on PC. There are a bunch of new settings now, things you can configure, because the game has been updated a few times by different studios. To my understanding, it is out of the hands of Grizzly Games, which may not even exist anymore. It was a student project, so I'm sure that those individuals have moved on to their own pursuits. I still follow Jonas, I think it's pronounced, its work. Recently released Thronefall, another excellent game, although I've only played the demo. But a few other studios, Coatsink and I'm trying to remember the name of the other one, like Stage Clear or something, have had their hands on Islanders, and part of the reason they've been doing that is to release console versions. So I have played quite a bit of the Switch and PlayStation version. Played a little bit of the VR version as well, although I plan to go back to that, but it's a fun time. And not to brag, but currently for the Switch version, I am the #1 scorer on the leaderboard. That said, on the PlayStation version, I'm the #4 scorer. Not because I think I played any worse, but because there have been some changes to the game, and one of those changes is the addition of new island types. And one of those island types is just brutally difficult. It's the type that has several spikes of stone with little platforms around them. Not this type, although this type is also new and also includes the spikes of stone. But there is a type of this island that does not have these water plateaus. It just has a small grassy area and then some of these spiky mountains, which are not, generally speaking, buildable terrain. And the unfortunate thing about those islands is that they are just ludicrously difficult. I mean, during my Switch high score run, it nearly killed my run, and during my PlayStation run, it did end it. Like, I was not able to complete the island, I couldn't fill in this thing, so I only actually played through, like, I think 18 islands, versus the 21 that you are theoretically able to access if you play the whole way through the game. And to be honest, that change has kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't expect all of the islands to be identical. I like that there's variety, and it's never been the case that the islands are all equivalent in score. You're always going to get more points out of a larger island, an island that's flatter, or even between the different types. The island where you can... I guess I should place this first. Not that it matters, but... the island type where you can place your own statues, for example, is consistently much larger, much higher scoring than, like, the Archipelago Island, for example. But the difference, the delta between the best and the worst option has never been as broad as it is now. And this change does not, to me at least, it does not incentivize the playstyle that I enjoy. My PlayStation run, for example, I probably put like 50 or 60 hours into a high score run and then played my heart out on a very difficult island that just sort of happened to generate in such a way that it would be very hard to progress from. And because of essentially that random factor outside my control, I lost. And that, doesn't mean that I don't want to play Islanders, but it does mean maybe I'm less excited to invest super, super long hours into a run that I could then lose at what I at least perceive as pretty minimal fault of my own, or no fault. Could I have played the island better? Absolutely. Would that have made a difference? That's, I think, debatable. And based on how I typically score, I do think the data indicates that I am an above average player, and so having an expectation that I am able to complete most islands seems reasonable. So, all that to say, I don't think that I have another PC high score run in me. I might randomly play 50 hours and then get one of the spike islands that just ends the run. That does not appeal to me. Additionally, the leaderboard is still, bugged based on the undo glitch that happened a while back. So I don't especially care about competing for high scores on PC right now. I don't think I have the enthusiasm for that. But I do really enjoy playing Islanders, even playing efficiently, or I should say especially playing efficiently. And I want to honor both my feelings about this and also the fact that I know most of my subscribers are here for Islanders. That's kind of the content that I first started posting on YouTube. Between that and RuneScape, and Islanders was my most successful content. So what I'm decided to do is I want to get the achievements in Islanders. There are more new achievements now. I previously had full completion, of course, but as I have not been back to the game for a while, there are a bunch of new achievements, and so I want to go ahead and get those. One of those achievements is to get to the 21st island, and I think in pursuit of that achievement I will probably get every other one. So, as you may have noticed, I'm not really playing for high score. I'm just kind of playing until I unlock the next island, and then moving on from there. I think that will be the best combination of long-form soothing gameplay that I know all of y'all would enjoy, and also still respecting my time and the fact that I could get very far into a run only to lose it. So, these first few islands will be kind of easy. It isn't very difficult to unlock the next tier until you get a bit further into the game, but there will come a point where I do have to play islands with my same previous rigor that you may have seen and enjoyed. So these first few I don't really feel like I need to be especially careful with, but as time goes on, the demands of unlocking each island and unlocking more buildings each round do get more challenging, and so hopefully this series can be a combination of what I would enjoy and what all of you want. So, talking about this island itself, I do enjoy the Archipelago Islands. I think they're very unique in a way that captures my imagination. I made one video a long time ago about how to utilize the available space, and I'm kind of utilizing that same tactic here. I'm trying to expand my water plateaus into these additional land masses. Obviously, I could score massive points just by placing these water plateaus based on tree locations, but I think longer term, just having more ground is going to be worth quite a bit more than, say, 4 points, which is what I was giving up there. I do want to finish placing these masons soon, because I would like to get that city center down. So that's what I'm going to prioritize next. And honestly, I probably could, just speed run this island, just like slap down buildings wherever and score enough points to proceed. But I think that both I and also you will enjoy it more if I take a little bit of time and plot out where I would like the various buildings to be. There are a few achievements that are not, strictly speaking, progress related that I have not gotten. There's one for placing 3 shamans in 1 night, which would require turning the day-night cycle back on, because there's a day-night cycle in Islanders now. There's also like these Halloween versions of buildings, and there's Christmas and Easter and summer versions too. And it's all sorts of different soundtracks. Oh, I actually have 3 shamans. Okay, can I just do this real quick and then not have to think about it? Nighttime, and it looks like it's paused. Yeah. So then I don't think I'm going to need the score from these to complete this island, so I'm just gonna kind of can't help myself but find some scoring spot. But I'm just gonna place those 3. Yeah, there we go. So yes, in getting that achievement, I think I only have one other achievement that isn't score related left, and I think it's placing 4 towers that don't lose points to each other, which should also be pretty easy to do on my way towards the hard islands. Because for a little while I'm just going to be playing these islands that I do think I have like essentially 0 chance of losing on, that even if I played quickly and carelessly, I would still be able to progress. Later in the game, it'll become much more challenging. As for the console editions of Islanders themselves, I have some feelings about them. They are fun. I mean, I've spent, at this point, over 100 hours playing them, so I certainly don't dislike them. I do think that PC is still my preferred platform for the game, but the fact that the leaderboard doesn't reflect true scores does make me less incentivized to try and do progress runs here. I don't play to be number one or anything. Like, when I sort of reached that point on the Switch, that was really heartening, and I'm proud of it, but it's also just sort of a matter of, I play for the efficiency itself. I play for seeing what beautiful, high-quality play can look like, and if that happens to result in a high score, all the better, but it's not my primary motivator. It's kind of silly that I've already slowed down so much when I literally could just slap these buildings down and get through it. But that will probably work out better for everyone. I know that the calming pace of play and thoughtful decision making is a lot of what originally appealed to folks about my videos. There are also a few bugs in the console versions, and I promise I won't spend this whole video talking about them. At some point I'll need to talk about my island plans more, but there are a few bugs in the console version, and I've reported them and sent in videos and stuff, but I can't imagine it's a very high priority for a studio that's essentially already finished their work on the game to return to it just to fix some bugs that really only happen when you have a very full island, which many players may never accomplish. To my understanding, lots of players don't play for high scores, or if they do, and I don't mean this rudely, but don't get very far. I mean that, that there is a continuum of skill across the game, and so many people might not be seeing the detection bugs that only occur on very busy islands. Overall, though, I do think the console ports are an excellent way to play the game. I certainly still recommend them, especially if you're playing on the Switch on the go or something. It's a nice game to just pop in and out of for a few hours. I am happy that the game has done so well, that it has been ported so widely and everything. Hopefully that encourages more developers to find similar styles to this, similar games. I think this is kind of a rare mix of cozy beauty and also strategic optimization. See, if I was trying to max points, this would be a pretty beautiful island. The sand distribution is not great, and all of this mess is not going to be super high scoring, but you have a few large flat areas, especially this transition here. If a large building, I don't know, those are pretty tall cliffs. I doubt a large building can overlap those. Maybe here. So there could be a lot you could do here. I think I'm just gonna place these out and not group them together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make the correct strategic play, even though I don't think there's a need to. Just it's good form, And I will group 2 of these already. So that should allow me to get some triple detection. Nice extra point boost. And I don't think these buildings by themselves can get me to the next unlock, so time to go ahead and take the hit. Maybe I do it here, though. Normally I always just default to the highest one, especially for temple placements, but I may not even be getting to a temple in this run, so may as well just go ahead, place it here, and already getting some very high scoring mansions. Okay. They've changed the UI quite a bit. I do use the legacy UI, like there are new fancier versions of these building icons you can switch to and things like that, but for me the nostalgia of the game is much stronger if I use the original assets, so Not that Islanders leans on nostalgia, it certainly stands alone, and if you've never played before and got to my channel through some other content that I've put out, I do recommend Islanders, console or PC version. And in spite of, the kind of complaints I was raising earlier are very, like, first world problem. It's very, because of my position as a very, very experienced, high-skill Islanders player, I kind of see the game in a different light than someone who is coming to it for the first time. And I think if you haven't played before, it's really an incredible game. There's a lot of very small, clever design, and I think that the ongoing quality of games put out by the developers speaks to that, that there is just a clear design intent, and it is a game worth your time. As long as possible, I'm going to stick to mansions over here, because I feel like I can get a couple more masons or maybe a shaman before I actually go into houses. But the house area over here is going to be very high scoring once I start placing them. Might be time to swap over to industry, though. So I have all these industry buildings I've just been hoarding. Make sure these spin the same direction. It's optimal. And I kind of want to... I'm trying to think where my next masons are going to be. Again, this sort of stuff probably does not matter, but I should theoretically be placing these brickyards wherever masons will be able to contact them. That was suboptimal. I should have held it, but can't be bothered to undo it. I think a -10 will pay for itself. I'm curious if there's a big flower patch somewhere. Looks like no. Yeah, I haven't observed as many flowers as perhaps I used to. I don't know if anything was tweaked or if that's just my confirmation bias, but there definitely are differences in how the islands generate, even the familiar island types. And some of the new islands are very different and lead to very different play patterns. I mean, the 26 is the 26. I was thinking about, that does take up a couple valuable house spots, but again, 26. And honestly, even an 18 is pretty rockin' at this point of the game. Look at how much slower this is filling than just previously. Like, there's just one island more, and already the progress to get to the next island has become so much more challenging. So maybe even as soon as, next island, or the one after it, I will need to start being super strategic, slow play Connor again. A familiar voice to all of you, I'm sure. I don't want an 11. That feels like less than this building should be worth. I also don't want to take a big negative here. -10 I could do. And then that creates probably a 2 or 3 17-ish scores around here. And now we have some 23s and whatnot. But it might just be brewery time. And I'm going to... It's kind of a question about how I lay out my parks. So I could, brewery up this area and then place, or hops field up this area, brewery over here, so the houses can... So the tavern can tag the brewery, so the houses can tag the tavern. I could also just kind of ignore taverns and instead just take this whole area for resort oasis things, or use down here as sort of an in-between compromise. A lot of this gray here becomes unplaceable. Could also go up here, which is mostly just like a cutesy play. I'm not really sure that's good. It puts things further away, and because detection is a sphere, not a circle, you do have to worry about vertical change. But I think something cool is going to end up on this little spit of rock, but think maybe this is the play. And then I can do a few down here, and then swap over to parks and fountains, and then the monument can be somewhere back here. Because the monument will want the parks to be in contact, but not the hops fields. So I'll try and place those in separate clusters. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be fine scoring. Do I place it now is the question. Versus placing like one house, or Sawmill doesn't do it by itself. Maybe I do just do one house. I feel like I've been holding these for sufficiently long. A 27's a 27, you know. Until I get wall plateaus, that's probably about as high as I can expect a single house to go. Well, I did say there'd be a few other 17s around here, so I'm curious if I can do... no. Shame. The small detection radius of mansions really does reduce their efficacy. The more that I play, the more I'm convinced that the house is just the single best building in the game. Like, it's not going to be your highest score per building, but it's small, both of the sizes are useful, both the shapes, I guess. And it is such an integral part of progressing in the game. Later in the game, as you start placing them on wall plateaus, you really can get like 45 or 50 points a house. And even at this point in kind of the early game, transitioning to mid-game, there's just so many like 24-point houses. And 24 is a lot. Like, if every building's 24 points, you'll make pretty good progress. And I have like 26s and stuff around here. It's just a good building. It's very reliable. So this is what I was talking about earlier with wanting these brickyards to be masonable. I think it actually might be good play to put a mason there, and then this other one can just contribute to the infrastructure over here. Looks like my houses are trending this direction, so if possible I will do the same. 11 points. Oh, it's the shaman there that I'm tagging for -5, or I guess I get them both if I come all the way to that +1. Yeah. So I guess I take the 11. It's not gonna tag as many houses, but it's only, what, 2 points to a house? Yeah, I mean, that's not worth losing the 10 from the shamans over. And I know there is a 26 there. It might be possible to do 2 high-value houses if I have... or I could just place it at an angle. Where was the horizontal 26? I think I had it once. Maybe it was just by placing a little further up on this edge, or... we'll take the angle. That doesn't really disrupt the rest of this area too badly. And honestly, at this point, an 11 might be sufficient for a mansion. I have not received the buildings that I need to keep making mansions better for much, so. This 10 is a much less valuable spot, though. And that has some... actually, no, it's not. Yeah, my mistake. I think getting some low-scoring mansion out here is going to be the best play. And 12 points. That's a shame. I guess I can place that and a sand pit. Maybe 2 sand pits, we'll see. Again, have to spin these the same direction. And let's go ahead and just place 2. It's going to happen at some point soon. Plateau is a lovely unlock as ever, and got a few good thoughts about where to put one. I was really hoping it would just fit neatly in here. So it gets 10 points for a city center versus 0 for plateau. So these city center goes first. The negative 80 there is going to be insurmountable because there's 2 city centers giving it a negative, but there is like a plus 20 or... And I'd love to get these masons more involved. Even in this weird glitch spot, I can't get away from that city center. It's kind of uninspiring, but it is close to the coast, which is good for... There's going to be a few decent fissures here. And it will, whenever I find a way to wiggle this into placement... Yeah, there we go. I knew it was there. My intuition for where I can wiggle things remains strong. Yeah, that's a good point boost there. And then I guess I just put another one over here. I can't, looks like I can't clip it into that mason, so got a 42, or that might not be placeable because it's hanging over this edge too far. 42 is fine. It does mean that these buildings were probably placed in error, but difficult to predict and plan everything, especially trying to keep pace of play up. Do I have a single mansion that I care to place right now? I'm leaning no, actually. I think every spot where I might put a mansion is at this point better left for a house, and I have quite a few houses, so for the moment I might decline that mansion and instead start collecting some of these house points I've been laying on the table. Giving up this spot I have mixed feelings about, because this would be a decent temple. It would tag a couple of these, it would get all these buildings, so this is already like maybe a 30-point temple, and then I could do a lot more to boost it from there. Probably more than that, actually, because I bet it would get, so it's 75 base from those, and then say 60 or 70 more. So even with the negative, it'd be a pretty good temple. So yeah, I guess I'll start over here, actually. And I'm not forgetting my parks. Parks and fountains, I've kind of revised how I play. I'm actually going to pretty soon start building them down here and using the parks to double score off them. You can get really high point value fountains just by placing them, you know, in and amongst your city. But keep in mind, if I place this 43 fountain, I would then score additional... there's not much room here, so let's say an additional 20 points off it, right? So that's effectively a 63 versus a 20, so we're already measuring against a 43, right? So there's, you know, 20-point swing, plus whatever I can get off of, like, every park is going to be 5 points, or 4 points, pardon. Every resort oasis is going to be a pile of points as well. I think that fountains... I guess both fountains and parks have kind of shifted my tune to no longer placing them in the mess of buildings, because I just want my grid of buildings to be as dense as possible. Like, I want it to be entirely built up of houses and mansions. I mean, preferably just one of the two. That said, because I have 3 fountains, I am probably going to end up placing one up here, but I can also place 2 down here already and just start this mess. So... Resort Oasis over here, or maybe right there, means that I need to go Fountain and Fountain. And then now you can already get some pretty juicy parks. Not like, you know, incredible top highest scoringest buildings, but being able to reliably get 10 points on placement, and then, you know, multiple Resort Oasis will also benefit from these oasi. So I think that sequestering your green buildings in another part of the island is probably good play. That's how it seems to me, at least. Alright, well, if I am placing that fountain, like, having that 11 there is just funny, because I guess it's not, these houses are not getting as far towards the towers as I was hoping, so, or not the towers, the statues, pardon. So yeah, I guess that is a mansion situation. And still gonna delay farming. As ever, I just think farming's terrible. Like, I don't, it's kind of a weird quirk of the game. Like, I think the game would be better if farming was better, because it takes up so much space, and mills are valuable buildings, but the fields are just so low scoring. I don't exactly understand the strategic niche they're supposed to fill, but honestly, maybe the strategic niche is they teach players not to build them. Let's just house our way to the next set of unlocks. And these are probably, they're okay. They're getting there. Maybe time for an 18 here. And I know the 7 could be beat elsewhere, but I like keeping them close and concentrated, mostly for the benefit of these huts. Oh, and yeah, something's being built there for sure. Okay, back to industry. This time I am gonna... Well, I guess let's think about where my next sand pits are going. Probably still in this area, because they'll be able to tag 3 of these, so... Might not matter a ton where exactly I put this. Just as long as it's not losing massive points. Making progress. This is actually challenging. The gold mine is good because I'm going to get very few copies of these buildings. I don't actually want a ton of them. Like, jewelers are high scoring, but you do have to build with them in mind, and I've done a pretty good job of that. Yeah. At some point I will want the mills, because mills will get you like 60 points by the time that you get around to placing them, but... Oh, I'm heartbroken. Man, okay, there we go. I was really thinking I'd be able to place at least a couple out there, and I'll do the line-shaped parks at least. Let's not overcomplicate this, but also think about where the next lumberjack is going to go. And... Okay, so I have like a 17, a 23... Not going to be worth a lot anywhere yet. And I kind of... Oh, I almost forgot. I did forget that this was blocking a circus space, but I'd kind of checked the circus here. So that's a result of fast play. Not really a problem. Like, I wasn't counting on the circus to be high scoring. Would be cool, though. This is strange. I think I'll use less space by placing them like that. And then on the new assumption that I'm placing fountain here, jeweler here, this mysterious 4-point mansion is actually pretty good, because it's going to effectively boost other buildings I'm placing soon. Same with this 5-pointer. Then yeah, I can maybe place a couple more before that, but we're getting up to the point that the fountain and jeweler are both going to come down. And let's go ahead here. Okay, so this space that I left here might end up being used. New plateau placement. I don't have a spot in mind. Do cursed things like this. I mean, 42 points is 42 points, but I also don't necessarily think that's a good long-term play. I'm not convinced it's bad, like you do. I guess I don't have a building to show you, but mansions through here would be pretty well, would do pretty well, be pretty high scoring. Can also not be concerned about the space it takes and get a 30 just raw points. It's probably worth it. on the assumption that I get at least one more plateau that I can use for seaweed fields whenever I get those. I'm going to go ahead and place my mine, just kind of as burning a hole in my inventory, and I'm not going to benefit from the jeweler on it, which is fine. You don't have to get those points. You don't have to get every point that's on the board, you know. Then do a couple more of these. Really love to have a line park, but looks like it's not going to happen. And I will not place a 6. I'm not that hard up. 32 is not bad, though. I think I will accept a 32 to unlock more buildings. It's a fun little Halloween decor styling. I do like the seasonal buildings. I mean, part of like the crotchety old man in me is like, what have they done to my game? But the realist knows that changes like this are generally favored by player bases. It's not as though it takes anything away from the game in reality. It just have to learn to accept change. 18 over there, or do I assume this is going to be a temple and take like a 7 or whatever? I mean, oh yeah, I mean an 11 here plus 25 when I place the temple is plenty worth it. And now let's get a 54. And will this get better? You know, that they might both get better. I don't know what I'm placing instead, though. Like, I could just go ahead and slap down the Resort Oasis. They age well. They're a good building to place early, because once I place it, I can start doing these 11-point parks. Like, the order of Park and Resort Oasis doesn't matter. It's 5 points either way. Just one of the rare cases of that. Usually, there's at least, like, a 1 or 2 point difference about which one you place first. But, yeah, let's see if I can hold off. Let's see if I can save the Fountain and Jeweler for one or two more mansions. That'll be like, you know, effectively probably 16 or 20 more points. I think that does mean that I go ahead and take an 81. It's well positioned to touch a bunch of other things that I'll place in the future. So, well, I mean, 83 is fine too. I won't scoff at an 83. And don't need to place anything else. There is a certain value to taking packs like the Tavern that you know is only going to give you 1 or 2 of that building, because then you get more houses. And as I have said, houses are kind of king. Houses make a big difference. So getting a few extra over the course of the game is valuable. Okay, I need to make very sure not to take away prime placement spots, but yeah, like getting 5 points there and then effectively 10 because of that, effectively 13 because of this. Yes, it would score a point or 2 if the Fountain was placed first, but it is less. Yeah, let's go ahead and... There we go. It's like that one would have been better to place before the Resort Oasis, but it's a matter of a 5-point swing, you know. It's not backbreaking. And a couple of these 32s. A perfectly agreeable score. $75. $85. Okay, so I think my earlier score prediction is actually pretty close, but I could just sort of see that I'm almost at the next island and rush through these last placements, but I've been enjoying playing more at my traditional pace, so I think I will just continue doing that until we get to... Oh, well. Well, let's go ahead and take the 85, and we'll get a 57 and an 84. Just a couple of these high-value buildings I've been holding on to. And honestly, getting, like, yeah, 32 points from the second Jeweler is really nice as well. You can think a little bit about what the future of this island might have looked like had I kept playing it out. So this area is almost full, obviously, so then my next city probably be over here. I also do have a tower up here and not a lot of utilized space, so maybe mansions would go up here. I haven't gotten very many shamans. I've gotten 3 city centers, which is about average, I would say, but only the 2 shamans. I'd expect 1 or 2 more, so not having shamans makes it hard to transition your mansions, in my playstyle at least. But oh well, there's another island down. And about 40 minutes into this video. Alright, I'll do one more island in this video. I don't think I want these to be the 3-hour megalith videos, but I will put them into a playlist, so those of you who sleep with these videos or just want to listen to the calming sound of my voice can just have them rotate through in the background. I do want to say, by the way, and if you're a new fan or don't engage on YouTube, then don't worry about this, but it is heartening to me how much positive feedback I get on my videos and how much people seem to enjoy them and how excited people have been to hear that I might be making more Islanders content, and I mean, obviously at this point am making more Islanders content, but you know, I like putting the sand pits turning the same way, but it is satisfying to watch them turn into each other like that. I think I'll do 1 of those as a treat. And then 4 for a brickyard, 5 for a mason, so the mason builds first. Do I want to think about temple placement? I think I will place a temple on this island, so probably should have thought a little before. Man, I hate that pressing escape doesn't cancel the building. I need to get my muscle memory back. Okay, so where is my actual city going? I mean, the green space here has to be for green required buildings, so the city is going on sand. And having the gold here does incentivize me to place it here, which could mean that the wall plateaus that the temple is on stretch out from any of these surfaces. I think I'm going to assume that my mansions end up in this tight little crescent, and so my wall plateaus will build out over them, and the temple will be like here maybe, but up in the air, directly over these flowers and trees. So that'll be 2 or 3 platforms off there, 1 or 2 off here. So I don't know how accurate this prediction is, but I'm going to play as though it is. I'm just going to try and get all 3 of those into my temple whenever I build it. Alright, I think 1 of these is fine. I probably won't want to put many up here because this space will be more valuable for houses, but a few won't hurt. Ooh, okay, already getting 2 city centers right off the rip is nice. You know, my point that I made earlier about not liking how one of the islands is so much worse than the others does kind of ignore the fundamental fact about how significant of a factor luck plays in this game in general. Like, getting 2 city centers there might realistically increase the score of this island by like 1,000 points. And like that seems ludicrous when I say it, because you think, you know, that city center is only going to boost me by like 60 or 80 points, right? But getting those points early allows you to hold on to buildings for longer, which allows you to build up their value higher, which allows you to snowball further and further. And there are some buildings, like city centers, but also like wall plateaus, plateaus themselves, water plateaus, that drastically increase how much points you get from an island. If you get like 2 or 3 more of them, it can really make a big difference. Like an additional wall plateau in the late game could easily be worth 300 points. So getting lucky with what buildings you get early has a big impact on how many rounds of unlocks you get and how long you can hold on to buildings, and factors like that. That said, I do think that over the length of a full high score run, you have enough islands that a lot of that randomness will even out, and you'll be able to get a more predictable range of scores. I wish this worked. It's close, but I'll take the 15. I guess if I'm going to do that first, okay. I had the right order initially. Just didn't know it yet. Didn't know why it was the right order. But yeah, like this island is just going to have less potential for score than the previous island I played. And given that I'm going to leave as soon as I unlock the island, it's not going to have much of an impact, but there's already considerable variance in how many points each island is worth. I just think that the spike-type island is too variable. I think it's too significant of a departure from the other islands. It is so brutal. Like I kind of hope that I get one in this run. I mean, part of me kind of hopes that I get one that ends my run. I think that would be a good proof of my thoughts about that, how difficult that island is, and whether or not that sort of variance belongs in a game where high score runs take this long. But every island will have some variance. Every run will have a significant portion of its score determined by luck. Okay, next lumberjack, or next, lumberjack is probably going to be down here. So I think I'm going to place this like that. I feel good about that. Then I think it might just be one hops field time, and maybe this is the area that my resort oasis are going in, so I can start down here. Alternately, if I want to think about the limitations of my city, like this whole area could become city, but maybe it cuts off about here, and then I actually want these to be more like here-ish, because then I will be able to get a brewery into tavern chain going. So let's play with that. That seems like an interesting plan to have, rather than just kind of blindly assuming my city will take over this whole area, because it won't, right? Like I will run out of city buildings. They'll start being on wall plateaus, that sort of thing. Yeah, I guess I was right that a 13 down there looks pretty good. There's also this 6, 16. And even up here is a 12 still. There's lots of good lumberjacks on this particular island. This large flat area here is nice. I'm probably going to end up with higher scoring buildings there, so I'll leave it for now. I think a 13 in a not very valuable or intrusive spot is fine. Really bad flowers. The few through here are kind of nice, though, so I could... I mean, this is going to be where the mansions go, was my presumed plan, so that's probably good. I mean, it's not going to tag yet, so maybe I do take a little bit worse of a score in order to actually get the benefit of the shaman. But getting, to a positive point total here is nice. The question is, will my next city center be like right there, and then I'll build around it? That actually might be the play. Maybe I hold off on mansions and I build houses instead. Try to get a second city center right there. I think I'd assumed it would be out here, but it also might be quite a while until I get my third total city center. So I guess in service of that mission, let me... So going to a 2 lets me put it here versus here. Is that difference really worth 10 points? I don't know, I don't think so. Versus I can just do like a -7 out here that I know will pay off. Maybe that's a better... Yeah, because this is my first one, and I'll want to score off it soon. I'll place that first, and then houses will benefit from it. That seems like a good way to think about this. And speaking of houses benefiting from it, it is time to start the housening. Try and save those mansions. Okay. Fisher, as always, any building in the water is just going to be highly valuable to get early because it doesn't take up land space. Fishers are also fine scoring as well. I like the building. I remember there was a good double up here, like a 13 or something is perfectly respectable. Yeah, I'll do a 13. And I might try and get there with just houses. I have enough. I think this is good. Oh, I don't need that last one. Yeah, and this island looks like it will take a little bit of actual thought to get through. Once again, might try and do like a fountain strategy to save up points in parks. I mean, 27's a lot. I know that I was saying I'm probably going to end up with houses up here, but I don't think I can just ignore a 27. Especially not at this stage where big point swings like this are still really valuable. And this, I think, might actually be out of the Resort Oasis as well, if the Resort Oasis ends up out here. Oasises. Oasi. Yeah, we can just house this. Cool. Not a bad pack of buildings. And we will... Yeah, I mean, already just getting 22s from houses, which has required very minimal investment from me. Like, this has not taken points from anything else I built except for that shaman. And the shaman wasn't even, like, horrible. It just wasn't, you know, didn't score well. I think he got, like, negative 14 or something, or 7, or... a very surmountable loss. I think a third city center right there would be better for fishers around here, and I don't think I'm going to put a city center here for a long time. I think this spot might actually end up first, so that seems like a good first fisher to me. Just got to think about, yeah, like, if I had another city center in this area, I would want to be able to place these without conflict, versus if I'd put that first one here, it would conflict, you know. Things like that. Million little things to consider. That's what's fun about Islanders. Also stressful. Does that look too wide? I don't think so. I think that looks too wide. And I saw a 15. I mean, that's pretty darn good. There's all sorts of 15s around here. Yeah. I wonder if that's worse for huts. It's probably okay, that was only 1 point. Not a major swing. Speaking of huts, I think I can do better than 14, though. It might be time to actually place some of these mansions. Banked up 11 of them. Alternately, I could do this. Leave those trees for the moment. And the Fisher versus City Center will be 7 points either way, pardon. So I'll place it. Don't have a ton of headroom here. I'm already kind of feeling a little squeezed. I mean, 11 mansions isn't nothing. And I could just take a single higher point value one versus 2 mid ones over here, but I think the 2 mid is a much safer long-term play. I'll even place them in such a way that I don't think they'll improve in the long term. Because I don't think this area is going to get a shaman, is what I was saying with that. Don't know if that was clear at all. Okay. Let's go city center. Nope. But this plateau is good. And I could just slam it right here. I mean, that honestly is probably a really good plateau. It'll be 25 points on the temple whenever I build it. It might even be my temple. Like, I might save the wall plateaus for houses instead. Yeah, it's probably just too good to pass up. Especially because it lets me do things like this as well. Oh, but wait, I get 2 points versus 8 points. Yep. So we cram another one of these, and I mean 60 points. I feel pretty good about that. Okay. Still going to delay farming. This extra fountain is really nice. I might have placed these in such... Well, I don't know. I can do one more right here. We'll see if that ends up coming up. Right now, I think I can just stick to building between these two. I wish I knew more about where I would be constrained long term, because I would know a lot more about where I want to place this, but I think... Let me see if this... Yeah, okay. I suspected that that would place it too far away from that fountain, so I don't want to do that, and it doesn't quite fit right there. About like that. Yeah, that seems good. And then take this 10 and this 10. Good house shape to continue filling in these weird little gaps. And yeah, I mean, a 16-point mansion is not exactly what I had in mind, but it is acceptable. 29's not probably good enough. Don't know what I'm placing instead, though. I don't love like a 14-point hut. That's not thrilling anyone. Is there a 16-pointer here that then lets that square mansion also be a 16er? I imagine no. I might be able to fit a wall tucked in that little space, though, so maybe I do like that, and then that, and just leave a wall slot. And one more of these, yeah. Okay. Making pretty good progress on this island. It is a little bit closer than I would like, but I think that's just because I'm holding so many mansions, still hoping to get a second point booster in this region. And it's not like I'm not close to losing, it's just I don't want to have to play some of this stuff that I am going to have to. I prefer to hold it, but you can't always do that. At some point you have to commit. These are probably all going to be pretty good over here. There's a 43. It's hard to complain about a 43. Ugh. Yeah, let's just do that. And I need to refill my water. Hello, I am back and properly hydrated. And let this be a reminder to you that if you are not hydrating, your body might appreciate it. Alright. Back into the breach. I did finally get that shaman, and I'm gonna have some incredible circus somewhere. I'd love to get like 60 points out of it, which might require leaving a space, but I'm already at 56. Okay. So circus is just going to be great. That's good to have in the back pocket. Yeah, already a 60. Okay, good. That's about 60 is what I consider like a really good circus. Frequently you have to take like a 24 or whatever, but because I've done such a good job of segregating my town, the gentrification has worked quite well. So I think I will have high value jeweler and circus. Alright, so here's that same problem I was dealing with before, except now I've killed some flowers, I guess. So if I do place it there, how many mansions are going to double score off this? This might have been a misplay from the beginning, because it looks like 0. So all these scores are too negative to even consider. Like, there's no way I'm making back 37 points. Placing it out here doesn't seem to have any impressive option. I could place it here somewhat speculatively, just knowing that buildings will wrap around there, and that might end up being what I do. If that is the case, then I should not have placed a couple of these houses, but you know, can't predict everything. Alternately, I could get 3 points with similar energy putting it here, and that actually, yeah, that gives me access to mansions through here, so that's probably sufficiently good to be worth playing. It's not ideal, but sufficiently good. Excuse me. All right, what parts of the gold are solid continues to elude me. I guess that little gold spur right there must be, but I don't follow. I don't totally understand why. Is it time to just start placing mansions? Like, do I need to just take all these 13s and 14s and whatnot? It's not an impressive score. It's not shameful, but I would hope for more. I don't really want to place any of this stuff, though. So yeah, I think at least one of these... I want to leave a spot for a longer-legged mansion right there. I can also probably get a second good wall, which is nice. I think if I was a truly optimal player, if I was playing, air quotes, perfectly, I think I would do a lot more consideration about where walls are going to go. I think walls are a building that I tend to score well on by coincidence, and if I planned it, I think I could score much, much higher off of them. This is good. I like placing this as far as possible away from the gold, because the jeweler has such a large radius that, it's going to get the mine kind of no matter where it is. So you don't need to place this thinking about its own score. It can just be anywhere. So I guess, to be clear, I don't always place it far from the gold. I place it wherever it needs to go for other concerns. Like, I don't need to worry about it touching the jeweler. Okay, I guess I'm just only getting the good mansion. I don't dislike that, but I also don't. I guess I do just place it here. I mean, if literally the next one was like a long leg, I might try and work around that, but this is weird. I don't feel like this island is going as well as it should be, given how well this all worked, but I do have this tower and a couple other large point value buildings banked already, so... Nothing great. Just assorted 12s. And... it might be time to just accept some middling fountain. There will be... I know this is the circus spot, I won't be taking it, but there might be better fountains in the future, but also my mansions are kind of a disaster, honestly. So getting a little bit more of a point boost in here could be really valuable. I would rather use this space if I could get like the leg of a mansion up into it. So how about instead we, do like that. And I know that was a low score mansion. I'm just kind of counting on fountain and jeweler to make it worthwhile. Because again, the mansions are kind of a disaster. They did not turn out how I wanted. They're not using this space very well. Like, the thought that I could squeeze them up into here was perhaps misguided. It is difficult when working with square buildings and non-square spaces. I have such a large concentration of masons here that I think any plateau I place will need to be in contact with them. I don't think I can justify missing that many points. Oh, okay, that's really juicy. That's a really good system I have going on here. Once again, it means that these mansions were placed in air, but I didn't need them to get here, so it could not have been avoided, not easily at least. And A 16 is actually respectable. Plus all of these will benefit whenever I place my temple over top of all this mess. So they will pay themselves back in some sense. Well, I'm not sure pay themselves back is the right wording, but they will pay off. Yeah, various scores in the 20s. We take those. And I do still like that. 7 of these, but nowhere good to place a hut. Bad shamans all around still. Not having any flowers makes it really difficult to have valuable shamans. I guess I just place it exclusively to benefit buildings, and in that case... I mean, that's a nasty placement. I don't especially care for it, but I don't think it's bad, actually. I do think it'll score. Just looks weird. And... I wonder if there's a way that I can... Yeah, I mean, this is a fine placement already. I want to fill in this area with more parks, but I wonder if placing, like, here to boost further mansions, and then also getting tagged by this for 5 points, like, that seems like an okay compromise. And I'll place here to keep the wall dream alive. I'm not sure if that's even going to be, like, a good wall, but it looks like it. My assumption would certainly be it'll be effective. 10 points there. And kind of out of good mansion spots for this jeweler. I'm sure there will be other good jewelers around in different places, but yeah, let's take a 55. Over halfway done with the island, so I think in terms of will I successfully complete it, I don't have much doubt of that. Not at this point. I did block myself here, though. That's unfortunate. I guess I did not expect another plateau this quickly. I certainly wasn't planning for it. So, in that case, is there something else cool I can do with this? I mean, 28 is fine. It's not like... It does not impress me, but it would also have a couple good scoring buildings on here in the future. Yeah, I think I'll take a 28, especially since I can wiggle it so high up. So I get a good amount of placement space here as well. Because there's going to be, like, at some point I'll place this, you know, things like that. There's going to be some high-value buildings in that area eventually. 22, 28, whoo, 29. It's a really nice house. And a few more parks out here. I guess now that I know the Resort Oasis is going here, I should actually park in from the outside, because placing parks out here where they will not reach the Resort Oasis is better, because then I can place the Oasis, and then the parks that I place over here that will contact it will still score off of it. That was a good, reasonably good set of buildings. Let's do a little bit more industry first. So I had a thought about how this is going to impact my expansion to this area. Because, like, placing it over here is nice, but then any shamans that I use to jump my city are going to be impacted negatively. So maybe it's better to just keep all this centralized over here. Okay, so eating all the negatives, I can get a... Well, 22 is probably not going to be... Oh, my God. Wow, okay. I was going to say it's going to be hard to beat, but clearly not. It's actually trivial to beat. 35. Wow. I don't think that I can fit a warehouse right here. I think I tried that when I had one initially, but just in case, I think I'm going to take this 35 first, because that would be a good second warehouse. And let's place these two parks and then the resort oasis. I think it's time. And oh, I actually might have run out of 10-point spots here. Yeah. Seems like it. Alright, so we can resort oasis first, then 114, I mean, that works for me. I guess it would be more valuable to hold for water plateaus and then get green water plateaus around here. So how much thought do I give that plan? I guess there's no rush. Let me just get real picky about how far out here I can place things. Okay. Yeah, let's leave that spot for the moment. So I can probably just get these points from, yeah, I mean, a 24-pointer. I don't think a wall will fit there, unfortunately, so that's kind of a wasted spot, but so it is. So it goes. So it goes. 45. It's not bad. I don't need that many points, though, so I think I'm just going to kind of waste a hut just in order to unlock the next buildings without needing to place any of this higher value stuff. But yeah, without a third city center, these huts are never going to be great. I also haven't gotten very many fishers. Worth noting. Yeah, that's a good wall. We like that wall. Double check this placement still works, and I mean 24 is about the best you can hope for, you know. Ooh, wait a minute. I hadn't even thought about leapfrogging over here. I'm really cutting into my city area, and it's decreasing the score of my monuments, but it is a 31. I think the monument point making this an 8-point swing, though, because monuments get 8 points per park, and my monument will not want to go over all of these fields, so I actually think keeping that in mind is going to be more total payoff. Plus I, retain this space for mansion building. Could do this. It's bad for, I haven't even looked at what my temple is, but yeah, if I put a temple on the low ground, it's already over 200 points without any walls or anything. I wonder if that's what I'm building, actually. It's probably just time to cash this in. Yeah, because it'll still get 3 points for each house I place around it. So each of those houses I'm only losing 1 point on, effectively. Not a big deal. Yeah, like this house, would have been effectively 29 points out of 28. Is that really going to make or break me? I don't think so, personally. My next city center will probably be over here if I do get one. So I will go ahead and start this process. Placing it here so my next one can be here and still touch the statue, and then I can group up double scoring fields next to them. I actually should save the field, come to think of it. It's really hard to turn down those high scores, but I think it will pay itself back eventually. Plus 14s are fine. Not like an incredible park, but worthy of placement. Is there really not a wall there? There we go. Okay. I was like, for sure you can fit a wall. That absolutely looks like it'll fit. Yeah, it seems like I was right that I checked this spot initially. Well, there's still like a 24, 35 without, yeah, 39 if I avoid the negative. That seems worthwhile. Alternately, I can kind of gunk up this area, but 43. And that would be really good whenever I eventually place this, which will have to be after the temple, but that said, there's not that much island left in front of me, so maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I would be better off just placing the buildings that I have. Honestly, though, I think that many of y'all are here to hear me overthink. Overthinking's the best part. That's a feature, not a bug. 22... 24... 26. And let's just go ahead and score this. Oh, sloppy placement there. Gotta keep that sort of stuff in mind. Can I avoid that? That negative 11 is weird to me. Like, the fact that it triggers here. Look at how far away I am. I guess that... I'm going to have to use my mouse to draw this. I guess this corner post is drawing a line upwards to the height of the building, even though these barrels are low. The total height is probably the same across the building. It's like a rectangle. So, wrong building. So I'm tagging the top of that rectangle, the top corner here, even though it very clearly the bubble is not in contact, but the bubble is misleading, I suppose. Once again, I kind of feel like I'm overthinking. When I could just be placing buildings. $38 points. I mean, that's a damn good wall. Might impact a mansion or two out here, though. But I'm not sure if I'll be placing mansions soon. I might hold on to them until I have wall plateaus. Need to just place a couple small things, except the -9 for placing that early, and potential -7 for this placement. Need to get some more buildings. Plateaus? Oh yeah, the monument first. Okay, and my monument's already decent. It'll go up a lot from here, though. Another new plateau. What? Wait a minute. Where was that 6... Okay, this is probably not intended behavior, but obviously I'm going to place that. That's deeply cursed. Truly wild to me that that works. I'm appreciative, but definitely should not have been placeable. I was kind of wiggling it around in there as a joke, but seems as though my earlier comment about me having a good intuition for when I can wiggle buildings in might be a little overstating. So I would never have thought that would fit. And here we are. And this has been a fun island, though. It's presented enough challenge while still having like a good pace and continuing to move on. Yeah, these are going to be high-scoring parks as well. Actually, I bet if I start at the far side, yeah, and then I can just go ahead and place this, because everything else will probably reach it, or at least get close. And also, again, I'll probably be leaving this island in just a moment, so to a certain degree, this is all moot. I could just slap down these couple of big point earners and unlock it. Where's the fun in that? Oh, Okay, well, we at least have to place the temple, and then I'll move on. That's the deal that I'll offer. So let's just quickly score a few extra points here. Just unlock some additional buildings. Terrible farming pack, as per usual. And no extra walls. Weird. Take a 129. Dang, totally blocked myself here. Forgot about my plan, but thankfully, play bad, get rewarded, right? There we go. That will work perfectly. Okay, I really am just going to play this for a couple more minutes. It's just so addicting. What a good game Islanders is, honestly. Take a 30, which then allows this to be a 63. Second circus will probably still be high scoring. 30 with the negative, 34. It's funny. And place a couple of these real high scorers. Okay, so I think the way to do this is going to be right about, it's going to be one of these. And $125. Actually, these are not as good as I was thinking. I might be a little too high up to contact a lot of the buildings, so that's unfortunate, but we can just create some new buildings up here. And a couple more over there would not get tagged, but I can place a couple of walls that will be detected. And then, yeah, get like a 240-point temple. So, plenty of runway still here. There was a little bit there in the beginning when the mansions were not paying out, but I was struggling a bit, but clearly not actually in any danger. So I hope that you all enjoyed this little bit different Islanders playstyle. Hopefully you can see as well that across the course of this run, it's going to resemble the way that I used to play and record videos. At some point I'm going to have to play as cautiously as I can to just continue making progress, but this sort of combines my desire to get the achievements with my desire to create videos for all of you, and I hope that you can take enjoyment from even a little bit shorter, a little bit faster paced, soothing Islanders content. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Connor, and I hope to see you here next time. Bye.